you could feel the disdain that he has for both Jeter and A-Rod, especially A-Rod.
Oh, yeah.
Especially A-Rod, but also Jeter, though, too.
Well, yeah, there are a couple of things. One, when he says that, 48 hours before they picked us to win the World Series, and then they're hammering us after that. I mean, that happens all the time, especially if they're a team that there was high expectations and they thought they were going to do well, and then they fell short. They're going to point out the shortcomings. But he seemed very affected by it. That was the only thing he seemed affected by was those guys. And by the way, he didn't go after them unsolicited. Like, he didn't really say anything in the press conference about it. And then Evan asked him, and then he goes, "Thanks for giving me the opportunity to clear this up." So he was asked the question, but this is where I think the whole analytic thing stems from. And we had this conversation at the time when Jeter said it, that what he said, yes, fed into the fan thing of, you got the analytics geeks and Brian Cashman calling down to Aaron Boone and making the decisions, and Boone's not doing it. That's what all those people, those fans, believe is happening when that's not happening. And Brian Cashman is pissed off because it's feeding the beast of that, which they get hammered with all the time. However, and Jerry and I and you broke this down at the time, what really is going on still is infuriating to fans. There's a script of things that all scenarios within the game that everybody comes up with and says, all right, if he's at this number of pitches, we're going to do this. If this guy comes up in this situation, we're going to do this. And it's all analytics based. So there's still a lack of feel and a lack of human element in there. It's not directly, hey, put this guy in, but collaboratively, they have come up with a plan of every scenario based on the numbers to say, if this situation comes up, this is what we're doing.
Yeah, I don't know how many times we got to talk about this. I mean, it just seems
well,
like...
you just brought it up!
No, I'm just talking about this particular situation in regards to analytics, because every team is doing the same thing.
Yeah.
And they're all collaborating. And believe you me, if the manager didn't believe in what the Yankees were feeding him, then he wouldn't be here. He would have been fired.
Yeah.
So, it's like, I don't know what really people want. I mean, other than, a world championship, and then however they get there is going to have all the attributes of what they have going on now.
Yeah.
I mean, and really we'll see what happens this offseason when it comes to free agency and how aggressive they want to be in certain areas. That's what it's going to come down to. I believe that they think that they have a great pitching staff coming back, assuming that Garrett Cole is all the way back, say maybe sometime in May or maybe even June. They may hold them off kind of like the Dodgers held off Shohei Ohtani, and then give me the second half and then give me the playoffs when we get there, and then we'll be happy. But I don't. There's just a real, like, and again, I know that they are ex-Yankee legends. Okay, and they deserve all the accolades they get when they accomplished what they accomplished. And they just happen to be on the same show together, and the Yankees always happen to be, like, in their sights because they're in the playoffs. So they have to give something. They have to give an opinion about something. And I think a lot of it goes back to, in my estimation, number one, the Jeter contract, the last time around.
Yeah, absolutely.
And that's Brian Cashman dealing with Jeter's agent, and he's trying to hold down as much money as he possibly can, because Derek Jeter now is a champion, and he sees himself as a champion and as an important cog in the Yankee the stratosphere, and he wants to be paid as such. But they held him down under $200 million. I think it was $186 million was his last contract. And then, of course, you have the A-Rod disaster at the end when he's writing his phone number on baseballs and throwing it to women in the stands.
Well, that was the least of the
but it's all that embarrassing crap that the Yankees had to put up with all those years, and they treated him like Barry Bonds was treated out in San Francisco. Like he was the king. He stayed at a different hotel. He had the special contract, and it was a huge contract. I mean, all that crap. And Brian Cashman at the end of that, and I'm sure Hal Steinbrenner and everybody else, it was an embarrassing way for him to leave. They had a day for him. It was raining. It wasn't really planned.
Well, also, he was lying about using steroids that entire time. He was showing up at a courthouse and slamming his fist on the desk and storming out and continuing to say that he had never done anything. And then, of course, backtracked. He came in here, WFAN, and Mike Francesa asked him directly about using steroids. You lied about it then and backtracked. So that was really the big thing.
No, I know. And that's the undercurrent of all this.
Yeah, right.
I mean, I'm sure that when Brian sees both of those guys, if he ever does run into them, I'm sure it's very cordial. But there's an underlying tension that is between both of those players and the organization.
Yeah, you know what it is. It's as simple as this. If you are A-Rod and Derek Jeter, they didn't feel like they got respected enough at the end of their careers by the Yankees, and the Yankees have not won a World Series without them. And they love that. That's what it is. It's like you thought you were smarter than everybody, Brian. But guess what? Since we've been gone, you haven't done squat. We were there winning championships. And I think Brian Cashman was like, well, A-Rod was able to poke through with one championship.
I mean, like, you could hear it.
But guess what?
But
the Yankees haven't been able to poke through with any championships after those guys have left.
Yeah, but on the other side, though, those guys poke at him. I mean, they directly. I mean, Derek Jeter directly, was right after Brian Cashman.
Well, this is what I'm saying, though.
Because he protected Aaron Boone, and they were teammates. So why wouldn't they? Yeah. Why wouldn't he? I mean, there's nothing. Aaron Boone is, well, every fan has their point of view, but I'm just saying that Derek went out of his way to protect the manager.
Yeah, right, because he has an axe to grind with Brian Cashman. I think that those guys really do enjoy that the Yankees have not had as much success with them not around because they didn't feel like Brian Cashman, the organization, respected them as much as they thought they should be respected at the end of their careers.
Yeah,
it's as simple as that. It's human nature.
I feel like a lot of us have that. You know what I mean?
Like, it's human nature thing.
You can go down. I mean, maybe the history of all these different players that ended up leaving here, no matter what teams they played for, if they ended up leaving because, the team felt like they had to move on from the player as opposed to the player saying, this is it for me. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Even like Henrik Lundqvist went to Washington, and then he had the physical problems, so he never really played for them. Mm-hmm. But even he was not ready to totally leave yet. And the Rangers said, well, you got to go. We got this young kid coming up, Shesterkin. He's got to be the guy.
Right.
You gave us 15 years of unbelievable hockey. Goodbye.
Oh, wow. Boomer weaved hockey into this conversation.
And the point being is because when you talk about organizational legacies and legends, you want to give a perspective as to how it could happen in all different sports, not just for the Yankees.
Yeah. And it's very
with Phil Simms and the Giants.
I mean, it very rarely ends the way that you want it to, that both sides are happy with the way that it ends. Very, very rarely does that go on.